Trying to make it a team.
There you go. Hey, nice. Nice. Where you at?
He wants you to go.
I think he is there now. Check one.
Check two.
Check one.
Check two.
Hey, check one.
Check two.
Hey.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
2, 1.
What time is it? Shout out time. Shout out time.
Shout out time. Shout
What the number is?
742-535.
Oh, what time is it?
Shout out time.
What?
Shout out time.
What?
Shout out time.
What?
Shout
What
out
the number
time.
is?
742-535.
Oh!
I try.
Finally.
Right.
Now let me ask you. You mentioned Black Lives Matter, and since Trayvon and Mike Brown, that's been a slogan, a hashtag everywhere. Black Lives Matter, and a lot of people are offended by that.
Right.
And the counter is, well, all lives matter. How do you feel about that response to Black Lives Matter?
Well, obviously I think it's an inappropriate response, even when it has good intentions involved.
Yeah.
I think those who feel the need to use the All Lives Matter, they just need to sit back and think about and maybe talk to some people who are part of the Black Lives Movement about why exactly that phrase was being used. And it's because we want to draw attention to the disproportionate amount of black students who are being disciplined in schools, disproportionate amount of police violence that's being targeted against blacks in black communities, the disproportionate amount of black people living in poverty and having economic violence that they're facing in their life. So there's a particular reason why we want to focus on the reality for black people here in the U.S. And also globally. Really, it's a global movement. So we can't take the attention away from that by calling it an All Lives Matter movement.
Yeah. I read a tweet that saying All Lives Matter is like going to a 5K race for cancer and yelling out all diseases matter, not just cancer. Like, we know that. We know all lives matter. And I think, like you said, one of the reasons we're saying Black Lives Matter, because all lives do matter, but there's an attitude and some actions that are going on that actually don't say Black Lives Matter. So, one thing, Amelia, and maybe you can comment on this or disagree or agree, but it just seems to me whenever there's any kind of show of black love or pride or black power or self-sufficiency, like, everybody gets threatened. Now, when we're shucking and jiving and killing each other and rapping about that, or playing sports, that's fine. But if we start talking about loving ourselves, it's like, no, everybody matters. We know everybody matters. Why do you think that's threatening when we start talking about that?
Well, and I think part of it is the denial of the history in this country. There continues to be denial. In preparation for the action that we're going to do on Sunday, it starts out at 11 o'clock on Market Square. And at Market Square, we want to tell the story of the 1919 race riot that happened here in Knoxville. And it's interesting, if you look back at that story and what happened in that case, you'll see a lot of the same conversations that are happening today, which says, people were shocked by what happened, and it kind of eliminated people's idea of the racial harmony that exists in Knoxville. But still, after imagine.
She's being nice.
Right. Imagine 1919, and the argument still in the paper were that race relations were not bad in Knoxville.
And this is right after Black Wall Street. That's around the time of Black Wall Street.
So in 1919, when a white mob, armed, go into a black neighborhood because a black man has been accused of killing a white woman, and then the newspapers say this is not racially motivated. We should not be surprised that in 2015, when incidents happen that to us in the black community, it may be obvious that race was a factor, that there's still a denial in our media and in our broader community that race is an issue. It's time for us to come to grips with the legacy of racism.
Baby shaped like a goddess, ass fat, her massage can't hide it. Fresh twist out, brows on fleek, looking like she model fashion week.